Hi, this is Jonathan Rosenhead, Jerusalem psychotherapist. This week's Torah and Psychology post with Pastor Vayakhel is going to discuss anger. In this week's parsha, we have the pasuk of Lo Sivaru Eish B'chol Mashvesechem B'Yom HaShabbos, which means that you shouldn't light a fire. It's telling us the issur of lighting a fire on Shabbos. Now this is the literal explanation, but the Zohar explains that we can also understand lighting a fire in a metaphorical way. That fire is, in a metaphorical sense, relates to anger. And therefore the pasuk is telling us that a person should not get angry on Shabbos. I'd like to discuss this. What is this idea of not getting angry on Shabbos, and how can we perhaps control the emotion of anger? So the Gemara in the Dorim says that becoming angry, when a person becomes angry, it's like Gehenna has taken control of them. And interestingly, in this pasuk of Lo Sivaru Eish, the Baal HaTurim explains that Hashem is saying, just like my light, my fire rests on Shabbos, which is relating to the fire of Gehenna, where the fires of Gehenna do not burn on Shabbos, so too your light should not burn on Shabbos. And therefore we see this idea as an analogy. The fiery, angry, burning fires of Gehenna rest on Shabbos, and so too our fire, our anger, should rest on Shabbos. And if we look at anger, we can say that anger is a legitimate emotion. Sometimes it's appropriate to express anger. But what's being suggested in this pasuk is that a person should strive to try to control their anger. And I'm not talking about anger which is expressed because of some mental illness or because maybe some cognitive disorder, but rather looking at anger from a general perspective. We all get angry sometimes. We all can lose our temper and we can feel pressure and stress. And this can therefore cause us to become angry. And in the literature, in the research, looking at family violence, there's a typology which suggests there are different types of anger which is expressed within the family dynamics. And one of them is called situational violence or normative violence, which suggests that couples or families can become angry and can argue and can get into quarrels. And this is just a normal result of interactions within the family system. It's because people find themselves in stressful situations, so they find it difficult to cope with certain situations, and therefore the anger is expressed in a specific situation. And this reminds me of the Gemara in Gittin. The Gemara in Gittin discusses a story of a couple who, on Erev Shabbos, they would always argue and they would always fight. The Satan would come to their house on Erev Shabbos and incite them to quarrel and argue with each other. And we can relate to this. Everybody can relate to the idea of Erev Shabbos being a stressful time where we can sometimes be less patient and get into arguments. So the Gemara explains that Rabbi Meir saw this, and Rabbi Meir asked this couple if he could come to stay with them for Friday. And because he was in their house, the couple were on their best behavior. They didn't argue, they didn't fight with each other. And Rabbi Meir did this for 3 weeks in a row. And therefore, as a result, the couple didn't argue, and the Satan left them alone. After 3 weeks, he decided just to leave them alone. Because you see, it wasn't working. There was no point in the Satan being there, because they were now calm and peaceful with each other. So if we look at anger, we can say that there are situations where it is difficult to control our temper. But the message of Shabbos is that we should strive to try to create an environment which has a calming influence on us. And this is the message of Shabbos, and this is what Shabbos does. Shabbos creates an environment which is peaceful and calming for us. And in a paradoxical way, where we say we shouldn't light fire, the Shabbos candles, the light and the fire of the Shabbos candles is a message, and the purpose of the Shabbos candles is to create peace. It's a message of shalom bayis. And therefore, perhaps we should try to stop and recognize and look at how there are certain situations perhaps where we become angry, where we regularly lose our temper. We should try to not get lost in this sea of emotions and anger, and try to see if we can change the environment. Perhaps we can create an external reminder, like Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir was this external source of calm as a reminder for the couple not to become angry. And perhaps we can create our own external reminders, and we can create a change in our environment which can encourage calm and create a peaceful environment. Have a great Shabbos and keep well.